When it comes to D&D, we all have to start from somewhere. That's why I talked to Jason Charles Miller about his new show, Starter Kit.
I've got a new show on Project Alpha called Starter Kit D&D Edition. And what it is, we're teaching people who have never played D&D before how to play. What I wanted to do was make it simple, make it a little bit more digestible for the first-time player. And my thoughts were, D&D's been around for so long, and it's really gotten incredibly complicated. To us, who have D&D in our DNA, the idea of a Dragonborn Paladin is like, oh, okay, cool, that's just one more thing. But to someone who's never played before, they're gonna open up the player's handbook and be like, what is all this stuff? So my idea behind the show was to, I wanted to run them through a classic dungeon crawl and make the party just have the classic classes. So I've got 2 fighters, a rogue, a wizard, and a cleric. That's it. And I also wanted to keep the races sort of classic. So I had an elf, a half-elf, a human, a dwarf, and a halfling. The first D&D set I ever bought was Basic D&D, which came out in 1980. And that's when like halfling and dwarf were a class, not actually a race. But it was a great introduction to the game. So I tried to keep that spirit with Starter Kit, and we actually modified B1 in Search of the Unknown and made that the dungeon crawl that I took everybody through. I've got roots in the D&D community. I've got roots in Geek and Sundry here. I write a lot of music for most of the shows on Geek and Sundry. Plus, I was on a multiverse RPG show for 14 months here on their Twitch channel with Ivan Van Norman, who is the DM. And so we would jump from system to system every 5 to 8 weeks. And so what we noticed was I did a little one-off when Ivan was getting ready, when Ivan was organizing International Tabletop Day. I ran a one-off which turned into a 3-off and I called it Back to Basic. And I played D&D Basic, the 1980 rules. And people really responded to that, and so that was sort of the little seed that grew into what Starter Kit is now. There's always, when I grew up, you know, it was either you were a jock or a nerd, right? And there was something that happened where, like, all of a sudden being a nerd is cool. And that's something that gradually happened. And I think that video games actually helped a lot, because it used to be if you were like a computer kid or you're a video game kid, you know, that was considered the on the edges of society. Now that's completely integrated into everything that we do as a regular working society, right? So I think that when aspects of D&D started coming into more and more popular culture, that suddenly made it okay for people to explore and realize that this is a really fun thing to do, and it's actually like a great exercise for your mind. You know, from it appearing on, you know, shows like Community or you know, Stranger Things, or obviously Critical Role, which is taped here. If your friend likes something, then it's okay for you to like it. And then more and more people's friends started liking it and realizing what a cool game it is. And I do think computer games help that, though, because people were playing RPGs online that might not have realized that all these online RPGs were based on D&D at its core. And then now realizing that the thing that this game is based on has even more possibilities and more ways to have fun. Then I think that's why. My advice for new players is to find an experienced dungeon master if you can. And my advice for new dungeon masters is read, read, read. Hal Sparks, who's on my show, Starter Kit, said that he was the dungeon master when he was 10 because no one else in his playing group wanted to read all the rules. So my show posts every Thursday, and it's video on demand. So a new episode comes out every Thursday, and it's on projectalpha.com on the Geek and Sundry channel.
Thank you, Jason Charles Miller, for being on D&D Beyond. I'm Todd Kenrick. Thank you for watching.